Hello, my name is Rebecca White, and I will be presenting my QI project today. First, I just want to give a little bit of background. I'm currently employed at the GI lab at Memorial Hospital, and we do colonoscopies, endoscopies, and we also do pulmonary procedures. So the issue that we are going to be talking about today primarily pertains to colonoscopies. So one of the major issues in the QI problem that I will be talking about today is patient bowel preparation compliance. That is one of the biggest issues that we tend to struggle with just on a day-to-day basis. Patients could have various reasons for not having a good clean out. This can include things like, oh, I ate and I wasn't supposed to eat. Or they didn't drink enough fluids to adequately cleanse out the colon and have it to where it's considered a good bowel prep. Other reasons that they may not follow is that they just simply didn't want to go that long without food, or they misunderstood the instructions, or the preparation made them sick. For instance, an example would be Sutab. These are the tablets that we prescribe patients. A lot of patients complain that the Sutab makes them sick and they throw up. So that can happen with GoLytely. That can happen with any bowel preparation, but that could be another reason why they come to us and their bowel preparation is not good, or it's poor, or they get them back to the procedure and the doctor says it's poor, and then he has to abort the colon and then they have to come back. So this is where we start to run into issues. For instance, that QI problem, by them having to come back, is one, the patient's getting sedated twice, the patient's getting billed twice. Another point to add is that patient spot to get them rescheduled is taking up a spot of someone else that might have been waiting to get in to be seen. That might actually be more of a critical situation, or they don't know that they have something. Then by having to reschedule that other patient due to a poor bowel prep, it takes a spot of that patient who really needed that procedure. So you can see how this sort of is a snowball effect, and it can lead to a lot of issues. So that's one thing that we really, really want to work on. So for the aims and measures of the QI project, our goal is to increase the percentage rates of what's considered good bowel preparations, which those good bowel preparations, that means that the doctor was able to successfully reach the cecum. He was able to successfully look throughout the whole colon to look for any type of polyps, look for ulcers, look for just anything that might be suspicious. He's able to get in to remove those polyps if he needs to. He's able to take biopsies if he needs to. He's able to do the procedure from start to finish with successful completion. Usually, they can do this on a fair bowel preparation, but it will add procedure time. So he's going to spend more time cleaning the colon, washing it with water to be able to accurately see in between the folds and things like that. So it does slow things down. Yes, it can still be done on a fair bowel prep, but it does slow things down, which can just make for a longer day. So some beneficial outcomes are going to be, again, to have a successful colonoscopy and to remove any type of precancerous polyps if necessary. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our plan. So our plan for change, some things that we can look at are, we're going to use evidence-based guidelines. And these will be used to provide information on the best bowel preparation out there. We want to make sure that what we are giving the patients is proven to be the best. So the physicians should get together. They should find the best evidence-based practices, the ones that work the best, the ones that achieve the best results, and prescribe just that. So that's something that can really help with the patient bowel compliance. If you know that, okay, Go Lightly is the one that has the best results. Let's prescribe that every time to these patients. Yes, you might have a rare outlier where a patient might not be able to do Go Lightly. They might have issues with it, but at least, you're going off of your evidence-based guidelines. So another plan for change is going to be to provide detailed instructions to the patients. So during the research studies, there were several studies that talked about how there was sample groups, and some of the patients got detailed instructions. Other patients got regular bowel preparation instructions. The ones that got detailed instructions had a much higher rate of good bowel preps. So those detailed instructions not only just gave instructions to the patient on when to take the prep, when to drink water, when not to eat, those types of things, but it gave the reason, the why behind, why we do colonoscopies. So we talked about, it talked about the colon cancer rates being the third highest in the US. Those types of things are attention grabbers because patients, we see it every day. They come in and they're like, well, I just don't know why I had to go so long without eating. I don't understand why this. I don't understand why that. Well, by explaining the why, and showing them like, hey, this is how the bad the cancer rates are, and this is why we do it, to take those precancerous polyps, to be able to see clearly. Those studies showed that it was a much better bowel preparation. So that's something that we can incorporate into the instructions for the packets that they get sent home with from the GI lab, from the office. So another thing that we can implement for change is we can go in, and when we call the patients to tell them how to take their bowel prep, make sure and tell them hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Drink lots of water, drink maybe a little more water than you think, because this is going to really help to also cleanse the colon. And again, we want a successful colonoscopy. That is our goal. So how are we going to collect the data? Well, there are several different ways that we can collect data. One of them being through our system called Epic. So Epic is our charting system at the hospital that we use. And so during the entry procedure, once the doctor reaches the cecum, which is the end of the bowel, he's going to tell us whether it was good or fair. Usually they're not going to get to the cecum if it's poor. If it's poor, he goes in and he sees, and he's like, okay, we can't do this, and comes right out. So once we get to cecum, we'll get told if it's good or fair, and then we will document that. That is how we're able to keep track of every single colonoscopy that we do. The nurses are required to chart whether it is good bowel prep or whether it is a fair bowel prep. And so we're able to keep track of all those numbers in the system. We will also compare our bowel preparation standards and our numbers to the ASGE, which is the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy. So these are quality indicators that they put out and national standards to make sure we are achieving that quality bowel prep. Okay, so who are the subjects? What are the subjects of the data, and then who is actually collecting the data? Okay, so the subjects of the data is going to be every single patient that comes in for a colonoscopy. Not just that's coming in, but also the ones that are getting canceled due to poor bowel preparation. So we want to know every single patient that's having the colonoscopy, what the bowel prep looked like, and the cancellation, so that we can keep track and see if after we implement this project, if our numbers are going up or down or that type of thing. So the subjects that are going to collect the data, that's going to include the receptionist at the front check-in and check-out desk. She is able to get into the computer to put why it's canceled, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one person. And then also the nurses who work the preoperative and intraoperative areas, they can also document that as well. So what's our proposed timeline for our QI project? The proposed timeline for implementing changes is going to be end of year, or about 3 months out is about what we said. The physicians, they're going to need adequate time to gather their research to find the best evidence-based colon preparations to pick, and they can meet together to figure that out. And then the managers are going to need time to write up new information packets for the patients, as well as meeting with the office staff to just to go over the new information and how to present it, and if the patient has questions about certain things, kind of how to answer it and that type of thing. So now we're going to look at the number of subjects. So the number of subjects for the data collection will be, again, on every patient that's having the colonoscopy. And the other data that we can collect that is trackable through Epic is what the physicians are ordering. So once they meet and they say, this is the prep, we are able to see under orders every time that doctor orders that certain bowel prep. So this is a good way, another really great way to keep track through our Epic charting system. So how are we going to evaluate if the QI project was successful? So we're going to compare the collected data to our aims and measures, again, by following those ASGE guidelines, making sure that that what they recommend and what they put out is we're meeting that standard. We always want to make sure we're at that quality standard. We will also compare the data collected to the percentage of cancellations after we implemented the QI project to see if the interventions that were made, which include giving better instructions to the patients about bowel preparations, along with those evidence-based bowel preparations being prescribed, will this increase the number of good bowel preparations and decrease the number in cancellations due to poor bowel preparations? So I am really excited about this project, and I can't wait to see what our results are. Thank you.